Welcome to the 313th edition of Hit the Ropes. This is Darius HTR's own Mr. Wikipedia, joined by HTR owns the Caribbean Playboy. What's going on, Mr. Shane Howard?
I'm here. 313. Ain't that a Michigan area code? I feel like I've heard that from my times watching 8 Mile.
Or just checking the old the caller ID back in the day on Blog Talk. That would do it for you as well.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, he should be on this episode. Maybe he will be joining us in the chat. We will see. But tonight's a little bit of different flavor. We usually give a little coverage of what happened on Raw, what happened on SmackDown, and the pending pay-per-view. But a little different conversation for tonight. Shane, I know you've seen it. It's everywhere, but I don't think it's in enough places. Last night at WWE, Big E, that is Big E of the New Day, tweeted out a picture, a photograph that seemed innocent. It was a photograph of the New Day, Sasha Banks, and the new Cruiserweight champion, Rich Swann. And everything seemed fine. It seemed okay. Just a group hanging out and chilling. And it was probably all right until he put the hashtag that read Blackexcellence. 2 words combined into one hashtag, Blackexcellence. Shane, it lit the world on fire because apparently that is something taboo. That's something you just don't say. That's something you don't tweet. You do not tweet Blackexcellence in the WWE. I'm sure you have seen this nonsense that has been catching fire all over Twitter.
Yeah. I actually didn't know about it until you mentioned it earlier, and I jumped on the internet to find out what was going on. I saw Kofi had a response to all the negative energy that was being put out there, and I just found it real interesting. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because we understand that yes, it is 2016, but if there's anything we've learned, especially with the recent political landscape, is that racism, bigotry, these things are still prevalent in these times, and it's not as shocking as it might be to others. It's just sad that this thing is still, that this still happens. They put out a picture of 5 people, 5 young individuals who happen to be black. 4 of them guys, 1 of them a woman, and they put a simple hashtag, Blackexcellence. Did I see that hashtag and be like, oh my God, these guys and gal are saying that they are better, they're a superior race. They are better than the white Anglo-Saxons, than the Muslims, than the Asians. Nowhere in that hashtag did I get that emotion. I just saw it as black people celebrating success.
No,
this world is it's just sad.
it is sad. And the thing is, people don't realize what it is. I saw tweets saying, oh, you're so excellent. You accomplished a fake belt and a fake sport. Now this is these are coming from wrestling fans, obviously. You know, because you're not. This is not on your radar if you're not a wrestling fan. So wrestling is important enough for you to watch and follow, and it's real enough for you to believe. But yet, when someone posts something about an accomplishment that they're proud of, you try to take that away from them by saying what they've done doesn't mean anything because it's a scripted sport. But yet, when your favorite world champion wins the title, then it's good and everything's kosher. And so that's a little bit bizarre. I find that weird. But I think what people are missing is the relevance of the picture. The picture is relevant because, yes, we're in 2016, but there is still a huge discrepancy when it comes to minorities. I'm going to lump all minorities in this category. There's a big difference between them being able to hold championships versus white Americans holding championships. And to have the Raw's Women's Champion, the Raw Tag Team Champion, and the Cruiserweight Champion, basically all minus the big title, which we'll get to, all African American champions. That's a historic, event. That's a big deal, and it's something that should be acknowledged. It should WWE should receive credit for a forward movement, something that we really haven't seen before. But yet, I'm a little bit disturbed that they're silent on this matter. The WWE, from what I've seen so far, and if anybody has seen differently, definitely tweet us at Hit the Ropes because I would love to see it. But they're silent. I haven't seen anything. When Darren Young came out as a gay American, a gay man, whatever the cause, they were all over congratulating him on Twitter. This is awesome. This is great. Why? Because it's a PR move. Yes, he's black. I understand that. So it wasn't a race thing in that regard. But gay men who feel suppressed in this arena, being sports entertainment, for him to come out, that was a big thing. That was an accomplishment. But yet, when we have all these African Americans going here and making a big statement saying, hey, look how great it is, that we're all able to hold titles in this era, yet they're getting destroyed on Twitter. Not destroyed, because it is a minority attacking the minority, but it's enough to make a noise. It should. I just think that Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, they should step up and just say, hey, we have these black athletes. They have this opportunity, and we're glad and happy that they see some moment. Something small, just a tweet. I'm not asking for them to get out on a parade. I just think it's crazy.
For the WWE, yeah, this would be something that if they're trying to show how progressive they are, then this should be something that they say, okay, whether it's Triple H, Stephanie, those are usually the two who would jump on social media to talk about some kind of issue out there. Because we do know that in 2 months' time, every time you watch the WWE, you're going to see the weekly presentation of black men and women in sports history,
yes,
or in history, whatever, in WWE. Yes. They're good for rolling out. It's like the same
because it's appropriate. It's appropriate. That's when you get your attention. That's when you get your status and your notoriety. February, Black History Month.
Right. So, they're good for that. And I guess they feel that's really all they need to do. But here is a time, and I don't know if the WWE themselves knew that on December whatever, that there would be a time when the majority of their championships are being held by people who are not white. So right now, this is like it's a big moment, and I don't know if they thought about it ahead of time, but it would be nice if they would address it and say, this is a momentous occasion or a momentous time in the WWE. As you said, a little tweet or something on the WWE website to show that, yes, February is Black History Month, but that does not mean that we can't celebrate Black success at other times. You know, um, even even in NXT, you have Shinsuke Nakamura, and then there was Samoa Joe. Those were the two recent champions down in NXT, and those two guys are also, minorities. So, you can put them into the mix as well to say that, the WWE has been giving minorities some gold. Now, granted, it's not the top championship, which I'm sure we're going to get into, but it's a start.
Yeah, it's a start, and the problem is more than a WWE Universe problem. It's a problem here in America, where an African American, whether right or wrong, could have an interaction with a cop, run away with his back turned, get gunned down, and yet that American, that white cop is able to be set free. That's the status that we're living in 2016. So for people not to understand the significance of the photo, that it's not surprising. I don't know if it's saddening at this moment, but you talk about the titles and what it means to get to that level. There's been a lot of different tag teams, from the Wild Samoans to Soul Man Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. So there's been a lot of minorities that have held that title, and it's significant that New Day has been able to do it as long as they have. Titles of all status are pretty hard to come by, specifically the World Heavyweight title. Shane, off the top of your head, could you name every Black World Heavyweight champion? I'm not talking about ECW titles because that's a secondary title. WWE champion, World Heavyweight champion, Universal Championship. Can you name every single Black Heavyweight champion in WWE? You think you can do it?
In the WWE,
WWE.
yeah, I could. Since we're not talking about ECW, Mark Henry held the world title on SmackDown. And was that one time when he had that nice run with the Hall of Pain?
Great run. Yep.
And that's it, because they like to lump The Rock in there as, the
Rock counts.
He can't. Okay, fine. So there's The Rock and there's Mark Henry. In the WWE.
It's two. You missed one.
That's all I can think of in the WWE.
You missed one.
In the WWE.
Yes, you did. SmackDown. Come on.
Mark Henry, The Rock. Booker T.
Booker T.
He
I,
wait. He had a with that was
when
the
he was
King Booker.
King Booker.
Right. See, I was trying to think back to Booker T. He was on the tip of my tongue, but then I was like, did he win the title? I remember the 5 times in WCW, obviously, but I couldn't remember if he actually had the run because I know he had the feud with Triple H
Yep.
that ended at WrestleMania, and Triple H. And this is something I wanted to bring up, where Triple H was telling him how he does not fit the bill of a world champion because of like the nappy hair and all of that stuff.
Yep. So out of all of Booker T's talents and abilities, the war, WCW versus WWE, that's what they found to be the sticking point. That he went to jail, that he's black. Really? I mean, that's the thing. We'll come back to that and those storylines in general for black wrestlers. But 3, you got 2 out of the 3. There's 3, and you missed 1. There's only 3. You missed 1. Only 3.
67%.
Okay, Shay,
I'm passing.
You're passing, but we about to have you repeat the course. You're 1 step away. Okay, so I've got another challenge for you, Shane. Name every white American that's been WWE champion. Go.
Oh God, how long do we have?
Can you do it in an hour? Shane, do
AJ
you even know how many? Because I only know because I looked this up. Do you know how many?
Over the course of the entire WWE / WWF history?
Yeah.
Are we also going back to WWF?
We're going back to 1963.
Whew. I'm just gonna throw out a random number here. 45.
45. Good question. I don't know. But let me tell you what I do know, Shane. I took a look at the history books. I opened it up, dusted it off so I could read some of those names way back in 1963. And I found out there were 128 total champions for the WWE Championship alone. There's also the World Heavyweight Championship, and there's also the Universal Championship. So we're talking.
These are different individuals, not like a person winning the title 16 times.
Correct. Well, no, that's what I'm getting to. So out of total reigns, so every time the WWE felt fit that someone was deserving of a title, so not just an individual, but every reign. So because if you think about it that way, every reign was an opportunity, it's an instance to crown a new champion, whether they've held it before or not. So these are opportunities. Shane, there have been 128 times the WWE Championship changed hands, 55 times the World Heavyweight, 2 times 2 champions for the Universal Championship. So that's a total of 185 champions, 4.5 years. That's a lot of title holders. Now, we've already established there were three champions that were of African American descent. 185 reigns. Now, some of those guys had multiple reigns. Oh, actually, one of those guys, The Rock, he had 8 reigns. Mark Henry won. Booker T won. So that's what? 8?
That's 10.
9. Okay, yes, you're correct. 10 reigns. 10 total reigns out of 185 championships. That is mind-blowing. 5%. 5% of the time there's been a WWE champion in 64 years, that person has been African American. Now, this is 1963. This is, separate but not equal. We all, hopefully we know some history lessons. So we're not talking about, this is before the separation of segregation, whites and blacks here. This is post all that. And only 5% of their guys have held world titles. That's why that's why posting 3 champions at one time is a significant thing, because we're still not even talking about people they see fit as their flagship of their program. We're just talking about mid-carders, and then you can argue with the women's title. They're closing out some shows now. That's a whole women's rights movement thing. That's something you can get behind. That's something as a company you can stand behind and say, hey, yeah, we support women. This divas revolution. That's awesome. Where's the minority revolution? But you can't say that, Shane. You can't say that, because if you say something as radical as that, you're gonna have some people upset. If you say something not as radical, something like, something just, black excellence, then they want to know where the white excellence is. Well, 95% of the world title has been white excellence. You've had white excellence for a long time. People wonder why you can't say that, Shane. Why is it okay to say black excellence, but you can't say white excellence? Well, let's be real. The whites are on top of, they have control and they're winning a lot of things. Nobody likes somebody who is winning to gloat and say how great they are. So there's a little bit of a difference and a reason why it's okay for the underdog to get a victory. It's okay for the underdog to take a picture and celebrate something great happening. But even with the black excellence of the mid-card status that we're seeing, who's the next Rock? Where's our next Booker T and our next Mark Henry? When's that gonna come, Shane?
Well, the way the WWE has it positioned, I can't answer that, because the top champions who are African American, forget the other minorities for the moment, just to focus on the African American, they're none positioned where they could perhaps make an impact on the main event level right now. We had SmackDown last night, and they're looking for a #1 contender for AJ Styles' WWE Championship. And we had Dean Ambrose, who's had how many chances in the last few months?
72.
We had Dolph Ziggler, who won the Fatal 4-Way match, coming off of his most recent loss to The Miz for the IC title. We had The Miz, who's the current IC champion. And then we had Luke Harper, who was quite random. Not that I objected to Luke Harper, but his involvement was quite random. There were no black guys that suddenly wanted to come and badmouth AJ Styles to get their shot at a championship. The way that first segment started, it's like AJ Styles said that nobody was on his level. Why was it just those 4 guys who decided, you know what, I feel differently. I want a world title shot. Why did the rest of the locker room come out and say, you know what, if this is all we got to do, just pop out here in the first segment to get a title match. Let me pop out there, common sense. It didn't happen. But there's nobody on SmackDown. I can't even think of all the black people on SmackDown right now.
SmackDown, Raw, NXT.
Wait.
I mean, the 5 people in the picture.
Half of American Alpha. Jason Jordan.
Half of
I don't know any other.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else is black on SmackDown?
Apollo Crews is the only one, but and rightfully so.
He needs to go back down to NXT. I ain't talking about him.
Yes. Well, there's no one else. There's nobody in the whole entire farm system. And so you're telling me in the entire country we don't have a black wrestler that's qualified? Or
Jay Lethal, but he's in ROH.
Yeah, Jay Lethal could come in tomorrow and be a contender. And the way WWE's snatching up indie talents left and right.
Left and white, nice slip.
See that Freudian slip right there? They're all white. But I don't know. I don't know his contract. I don't know if they asked him and he said, I like being up on the top of ROH, big, big fish, small pond kind of thing. I don't know. So, but you would see more African Americans out in the independent scene if the ones who were actually in the WWE got that chance to break through that glass ceiling. You need that example. You need to see people like you doing this to give you that motivation and success. You don't have to have it, but it helps. Take, for instance, Shelton Benjamin. How many times was he on the cusp of making it to that main event level? And there's something to being self-motivated and being able to do things yourself. But there's another thing when you get around really great talent and you're able to, if you're not at that level, be pulled up to that level. And we saw that a little bit when Shelton started interacting with like Ric Flair and things of that and great performance of that nature. So what would have happened if he got pushed into that main event scene where we could see his athleticism and we see that he's pretty good at being innovative in the ring? But what happens if he actually gets a program with Triple H and gets pulled up to his level? Kofi Kingston, looking at it now, was he ready for it? I don't know, maybe not. But his stuff with Randy Orton had people going wild until Randy Orton, notoriously lost it in the ring as the hothead he is. And just like that, boom, his opportunity was gone. This thing with the New Day was not supposed to work out, Shane.
No.
They just took 3 black people, put them together. Maybe they asked to be together, however it happened, but there was no plans for it to catch fire like it has. So he was on the cusp of getting that world title shot, or at least having his name in the same sentence. And they pulled the rug right out of it. And that has happened time and time again with black athletes when it comes to the World Heavyweight Championship. That's why we only have 3 out of, 160 or whatever the number was I threw out.
Now, when you look at the other companies, and I don't want to, when I say other companies, we don't want to go too far out there, because once you get away from the big three, let's stick with the big three: the WWE, ROH, and TNA, because then there's Lucha and there's Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and we don't all watch all of that for us to be exactly knowledgeable on those fronts. So when you look at the other ones, coming to mind, we mentioned Booker T with WCW. And there was Ron Simmons. They made sure you knew about Ron Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
R-Truth, the artist formerly known as Ron Killens, he was NWA champion when he was with TNA while they were still part of the NWA. And Jay Lethal, as I mentioned, for ROH. Am I missing anybody? Oh, Bobby Lashley for TNA.
Lashley, yeah.
Who had an amazing run, by the way. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but that's all that's coming to mind. So even when you open it up to two more companies, not to make the WWE look like a bad guy, but you decide to open it up to two more companies so you can, okay, well, that's the WWE. Let's see. These other companies might be giving them more chances, and it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah. That's true. WWE is not the only person; they're just the biggest. And like you said, it expands. It might expand out to the rest of the indie scene. I know MCW, which is a pretty big indie promotion. They've got a guy named Drawlix, if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not 100% familiar with the company. I just see them all over my Facebook profile, and they've got a black champion. And I get that a part of it is you have to have the people there. You can't just make Apollo Crews a heavyweight champion for the sake of having a black champion. That's not what we're asking for. That's not what I think should happen. You can't just put these people in the position just because you need the sake of having someone there. But the point is, when people are there, what are you doing? Why aren't you transcending these guys and putting them in the forefront? And instead, what we have a lot of times, and maybe this is the reason why they can't get over, is the type of gimmicks that they're having to live out. Demetrius says this all the time. Why does all black wrestlers, why do they have to dance and sing? R-Truth, the champion Rich Swann. I'm gonna go rope in.
Xavier Woods was dancing with R-Truth when he first came.
Yes, I mean it's just the constant thing. And sure, do Black Americans like to dance and sing? Yes. But is it all that we're able to do? No. No. So just like you referenced the Triple H Booker T storyline, that's very compelling to call out, the jail time of Booker T. And maybe you allow him to show the example that he's been. Booker T has just announced that he is running for mayor. That's how far he's come. So it's okay that you call out his past because that's something compelling. Yes, he went to jail. If you want to play off that, that's cool. But to go fully, what is it, 1986 or whatever it was, where we're talking about the Iraq War or whatever, where we're going full-fledged stereotypes. Come on, let's be smarter than that. Let's let's give these guys some better gimmicks and storylines, than just the dancing man, the singing man. So
I would
I
like
don't
to.
even know how you.
How much of an input do some of these wrestlers have in their character? However, is what I would like to know, because you brought up the New Day and how it was. I don't think anybody thought that the New Day would get to where they are now when they first got together. When they first got together, you know, they were people first thought, okay, we see Xavier Woods standing on the outside of the ring. He's wearing the suit and everything, and he's taking note of all the black guys, losing and their position in the company, and then people are thinking, oh great, we're about to see like Nation of Domination 2.0.
Yep.
And then we got this whole positivity thing. It's like we felt the crowd loved John Laurinaitis and his power of positivity, people power and all of that. So now we're going to have the power of positivity with the New Day, and they're going to have this church clapping, because that's another black thing, black people in
Yep.
their churches, and the whole that whole thing with the preacher and Sister Act kind of thing. So they got that. The crowd did not take to it, and that's why I'm asking, how much input do some of these characters have, because the New Day was able to see how the crowd was reacting to them, and I can only think it was their doing. They're talking to creative and say, you know what, let us be intentional with our annoyance to the crowd, so that in turn will accept us, because it's going to be so crazy and annoying that we're going to end up loving how stupid they are. The same thing happened where The Rock was presented and the crowd turned on them, and they were able to take that negative and turn it into a positive. How much input do some of these guys have? Because I'm pretty sure if some of these guys could have a little bit more input, and we all hear the stories about how stubborn Vince McMahon is and how controlling he is. If they were able to be a little bit more of themselves, I think that a lot of this stuff where we see on TV, where we're always like, we need more character development from these guys. We need to see more of these guys' personality and all that. If they had more input, I think we would see that. I don't tend to always watch Talking Smack, but for those who watch Talking Smack, or for those who watch Total Divas, you see a completely different side to the Usos when they're on these outside TV shows from the WWE in-ring product. You see guys who you can relate to, and they're funny and they're entertaining, and then yes, the Usos can be entertaining in the ring, but their characters were stale as hell. And they're completely different when they're being themselves than when they're being what Kevin Dunn, Vince McMahon, whoever else is writing the storyline is wanting them to be. So how much input do these guys have that they could be Black Excellence?
Mm-hmm. It's a great point. And I hear on Stone Cold's podcasts, I hear on Ric Flair's podcasts that they walk on eggshells when it comes to just just promos, just being able to, they're handed a sheet of paper and this is your promo, and they're scared to say anything and change anything. So when they're given, hey, you guys are 3 black men, and oh, by the way, you've got a big voice, Big E. Let's put a choir behind you guys, and do a live rendition of Amen. That's a great idea. Well, you can't say anything. That's the way they make it seem. That's what it sounds like from the guys who are some of the best, characters in the business. That's what they're saying. You can't say anything. But I wonder if the New Day got to a point where they didn't care. Where, I mean, if we're doing this crap, it's a low of all lows. If you're gonna fire me, oh well. But I'm gonna take this risk and this opportunity. So maybe you have to get to that point to be able to say anything, which is a shame. So what's the point of all this, Shane? We have what's the point of race, bringing up race in wrestling? But you've got to point out these things. They have to be acknowledged, otherwise they continue to happen. People didn't even know it was a problem, and that's an issue, a greater issue in society, that that people are conflicted. They think that and Kofi Kingston, he put it best. He did a great job of he did a great job of basically dispelling why he did it. He said, while much of the feedback has been positive, there's been a lot of negative responses with regard of the picture posting illustrating Rich, Sasha, Xavier, E, and myself wielding our championship titles. Perhaps this is because many are in question of the motive behind the posts. It does not come out of a place of malice, spite, or gloating. It comes from a place of joy and a place of happiness. We are very strong in the sense of the pride being black people, the black people simultaneously holding championships in the WWE. Historically, in our nation, there was a period of time where this would not happen, followed by a long period of time where it became possible, but had not actually materialized. Now we are in the same time which the possibility has become a reality. So he's just putting it out there. So we have to put it out there because although it could happen, it is not happening. So how do they fix this? Well, WWE should do like they do anytime else there's a great publicity opportunity, whether it be gay and lesbians, whether it be supporting African Americans during Black History Month. Put out a tweet. Hey guys, we know there's a lot of hate going on right now, but this is the land of opportunity. Where it, from here on out, just like our Divas Revolution, anybody has a chance to succeed. And then they've got to act on that. We don't have anybody in place right now to be a Black World Heavyweight Champion, and that may not come for a while. But if you have people in positions of high regard, being champions, then these African Americans will grow up and say, "Hey, I can win a title too. Hey, I could be a star in the WWE as well." And you can't put it on buying power because the African American buying power over $60,000 is growing faster than any other demographic out there. So people will buy the shirts. Black Americans will buy the products if you give them something to believe in. And so they've got to support it, being one. And then two, hey, once you're in the WWE, you got to step up. You've got to do what the New Day did and turn around a crappy position. You got to speak up. Chris Jericho talks about speaking up on his podcast and not being afraid. But you got to be in a position where you feel that you're not going to get fired, or you just can't care and you just got to go out on a limb and do it. So I don't know. We're wrapping up, putting a bow on things. Shane, what are your final thoughts on race and wrestling?
I, I'm still kind of shocked with the numbers that you brought up. Like, I knew that they were very underrepresented, and even if you add in any Hispanic or Asians, the numbers are not going to dramatically change.
Oh, are you sure about that, Shane? I have those numbers too, you know.
Oh, give it to me.
All right, so let's take a look. Your WWE champions, just ballpark it. Total all WWE World Heavyweight Universal Champions. How many of the 185 total reigns have been Hispanic wrestlers? 10 reigns, 8 of those being The Rock's, but 10 total reigns for Black Americans. How many total reigns do you think you got out of the 185 for Hispanic?
I don't know. Ooh, Eddie Guerrero.
Yep. You're close.
I don't know any others.
Come on, yes you do. One of them is your favorite, one of your favorite wrestlers of all time. He just happens to also be Hispanic.
One of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Of all time.
Okay, because my top 3 is Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Eddie Guerrero, and I already named Eddie. Okay, you want my
very
number
appropriate to this topic.
Edge is not Hispanic. I don't know.
I don't believe he's a Canadian Hispanic of any sort. No, I think I just made that up. Okay. Seeing how you are the #1 REY racist, Rey Mysterio.
Oh, that guy.
Rey Mysterio. And racist, I mean dislike Ray, not dislike a race. So Rey Mysterio is on the board.
I am a racist, as in Rey Mysterio hater, for those out there listening and do not know of my many hashtag racist tweets out there. It's REY, as Dara said. I am a racist. I forgot about him, and it's crazy. My son was asking for a freaking Rey Mysterio mask Saturday when I was at that wrestling show.
Yep. So Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, yeah. More recently, Alberto Del Rio. He's on the board.
That guy.
That guy who's doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
I'm surprised that WWE hasn't. I'm surprised that WWE hasn't done like an NCAA and like stripped all of his title reigns.
You're right about that. He's going bananas out there. He's hitting everybody. But and then the one that I don't expect you to get because he's before your time and mine, Mr. Pedro Morales.
Jeez.
Yes. So that's a total. He had 1. Eddie had 1. Ray had 3. 1 WWE, 2 World Heavyweight Championships. Alberto had 2. So a grand total of 7, which is 12%. That is not right math. Hold on.
No.
That doesn't sound right.
7 out of.
Hold on. How's that higher? Yeah, that's 3%. Excuse me. That is 3%. Okay. So 3%. And then you had 1 Samoan. We know The Rock is black and Samoan, but by society, he gets pulled over to the black side. And the 1 Samoan, do you know the 1 Samoan?
Was that Rocky's dad?
Rocky's dad was black.
Rocky's dad is black.
Yeah.
Rocky's dad is black. Who the hell was this? Was
But
it
but
Rikishi?
huh?
It's
Did you
not
say Rikishi?
Rikishi. It's not Rikishi.
The Hall of Famer? No.
I mean, I just saw him Saturday night. So when you're talking about
No.
Samoans, he's kind of sticking in my craw because I saw his butt, from the third row.
Oh Lord. I saw that from your live stream and it almost blinded me. No, that man is Yokozuna.
Oh right, he is Samoan. I know he's not Asian.
No.
I forget that he is Samoan.
Yep. Well, that's
I'm
the
pretty.
whole race thing that we're talking about. But yeah, so he makes up the Samoan. I bet you get this one. We have one Indian champion,
Great Khali.
the Great Kali. Yes, sir.
What about the Asians? Are there any
Asians.
Asians?
I went through the list and I did not see any Asians.
Yeah, because Triple H made Taka Michinoku. It could have been Taka's moment. Could have been Taka's moment.
He's probably been the
But
closest. Because you know how they, yeah. So that's what Black, Hispanic, Samoan, Indian. 19 out of the 185. That magic number 185 is a total of 10%, give or take. 10% minorities in what? 64 years?
we can only go up from here.
You're right about that. That's a long ways up. So, but it might be another 64 years before we see another brother in position to even be. Maybe Shelton Benjamin could be that guy. He could come over to SmackDown tomorrow and have some fantastic battles with AJ Styles.
He was supposed to be debuting and then he got hurt.
He got hurt. So team him up.
Hot dog is saying that Shinsuke could be, the possible first Asian WWE World Champion whenever he gets the call up.
Yes, that definitely could happen. You've got an immediate storyline with AJ Styles, and we know that WWE has been playing to people's history as of late. So that's one evidence of change. Before we would never, ever see these indie guys, really come in to immediately be players, and now they're being players. So maybe that's a sign of change. We've got Triple H, new blood, trying to sneak in and get through Vince's old ways, old thinking. So maybe, but a little acknowledgement, a little bit of opportunity, and then the talent. Once you get in there, it's up to you to step up and do something with it. So, very interesting though. Very interesting. When I was flying through those numbers there, I knew that there wasn't a whole lot to it. But just think if The Rock wasn't as successful as he was, the percent would be almost non-existent. I mean, he broke the barrier, so even though Ron Simmons had done it in WCW before, then followed by Booker T, and Rock may have done it before Booker T. I don't know that, but it's just crazy. It's just really crazy that a photo and a hashtag, and it's so people are so confused by it. Kofi Kingston, you gotta go ahead and read Kofi Kingston's response. It was very well put. It's not about putting anybody above someone else. It's just recognizing the opportunity. That's all. That's all he was trying to do.
And let me add one more thing to this whole picture. In that picture, we saw 5 individuals, and let's just forget again that they were black. But these were 5 individuals who were happy to show them accomplishing what it is their dream. This is America. We hear it's the land of opportunity, and everybody's supposed, that's why people come here. And here are 5 individuals who are posting their success because they were given an opportunity and they took hold of it and did not let go. And now let's bring back the race. Yes, these are 5 individuals who are black. And when we're living in a time, as you mentioned, where we were seeing in the news, it was almost daily where blacks were somehow getting, arrested, and forcefully arrested or shot and killed by police. Here are 5 individuals. One, Xavier Woods, who has a master's degree. Big E, who graduated college from University of Iowa. Kofi Kingston, who graduated college from Boston, Boston College. We have Rich Swann, who his backstory is like, picking yourself up. This man was, had that horrible history with drugs and death, and he was able to, turn it all around. And Sasha Banks, who, we watched the WWE for so long, and your women used to be, on their hands and knees, barking as a dog for Vince McMahon and having bra and panties matches, to now women are closing shows, having Hell in a Cell matches, and last woman standing matches, and she's the champion. So I don't have a problem with them being happy for their success. This is Black excellence. It is not them saying they are a better race than anybody else. This is them being happy for what they've accomplished. And I don't feel that anybody should be trying to take that away from them.
Well said. Well said. So there's things that we can all do. It's why we're having the show. It's opening up the conversation. Hopefully providing a viewpoint maybe that you hadn't seen before, or maybe didn't even know existed. So, and we're open to talk at Hit the Ropes anytime, on Twitter, on Facebook. So keep the conversation going. That's the only way change will come, is if we talk about these things, bring it out. We'll be covering a non-race issue. We'll get back to normal programming. And this is normal programming. I don't know why I said that. This is normal programming. This is life. This is wrestling. That's what we talk about. But watching Wrestling with Friends will be back on the Sunday for Roadblock. It is a throwaway pay-per-view, I believe. Just trying to fast forward our way to Royal Rumble. We can do it all together. Black, white, Japanese, Samoan, Hispanic, all races together. Watching Wrestling with Friends is the title. Come and be our friends. I feel like this is a Sesame Street edition now. It doesn't help that you have trees and rabbits in the background, Shane.
Hey.
But it's all appropriate. This Sunday, make sure you come in and join us. Shane, what's your closing words?
If you enjoyed this show or did not enjoy this show, as Dara said, first of all, I thank you for listening. whether or not you enjoyed it or not. But give us feedback. Tweet us, Facebook it. If you were not happy with the things that we said, if you felt otherwise, speak your mind. Um, we're open to hearing what your thoughts are. But this is, when you hear those numbers and the length of time that pro wrestling has been around, especially in the WWE, you really should have a moment of pause, and it's just like, it's kind of crazy. The world tends to overreact a lot when certain things happen. I mean, I'm listening to the radio today and I'm hearing people were giving Hillary Duff grief because she posted a picture of her kissing her 4-year-old son on the mouth. And people are telling her that it's inappropriate. The world reacts to how people live their lives, and sometimes it's just, what, stop worrying about that person for a moment and look at what you're doing. But let us know what your thoughts are on what we spoke about. We would love to hear it.
And with that, you can find us at Hit the Ropes Radio, where we are always looking for great writers who can inspire or challenge folks. So if you like to write, you like professional wrestling, this could be your home and your place to do that. So hittheropesradio.com is that web address. Find us all day, any day at Hit the Ropes on Twitter. Please, if you are listening to this on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, you name it, wherever you are listening to this podcast, please, please, please help us out. Give us a little love. Give us that 5-star rating. Leave us a comment. Let us know what's going on. We'd love to hear from you. As we have said repeatedly, until this Sunday and every Wednesday after, we thank you for listening to Hit the Ropes. We will see you this weekend.